Sean Campbell Show, a podcast for the aspiring and hungry entrepreneur.
Hey everybody, it's Sean Campbell, the Sean Campbell Show, a podcast by entrepreneurs and for entrepreneurs. And let's talk a little Instagram today. I don't talk about this platform enough. It's a very platform that can be very, very rewarding if you utilize it correctly. It seems that Instagram is one of those platforms that, one, it's very, very fluid. You know, things that work a few months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, don't work as effectively as they do today, and it seems like it's always going to be like that. It seems a lot like Google in a sense, in that it's always changing its algorithms and changing, the ways that it can be beneficial for your business. But one thing I think is constant, there's a couple of things that I think are very constant about Instagram, regardless. I think number one, though, it's like you can't worry about the algorithms. Worry about just presenting content on there that's applicable for your audience. I think that's the most important thing about Instagram, is not to worry about or to overthink it and to always, what do I got to do now? What do I do here? What do I do here? Primarily with the hashtags, right? I mean, we're always concerned about the hashtags. A year and a half ago, it was 30 hashtags. And, that seemed to work pretty well for Instagram, honestly. Right now, it seems very fluid. It seems like maybe anywhere between 10 to 12 hashtags seem to work better than using too many hashtags. It seems to, if you mix it up, one day use 10, next day use a little more. A few days later, it's something else, right? But I think if you overthink Instagram, then what most people do is they just don't use it at all. So that's the first and foremost thing. It's don't overthink Instagram. Post, but what you should do is post consistently on Instagram and utilize as many of the many of the tools on the platform as possible. Utilize stories, as much as possible. Utilize IGTV. I'm big on utilizing IGTV on my podcast page for Instagram, the Sean Campbell Show. I use IGTV a little bit on the Campbell Marketing Group, a little 2-minute, social media tip I put on that. If you're watching this video, it's going to be on IGTV. I put all my podcasts on IGTV. When was it? Maybe less than a year ago, you could only get up to maybe a 10-minute video on IGTV. Right now, I believe it's like half an hour, so, keep up to date on that. But it seems that the more you utilize Instagram's tools, the different features, the more it rewards you. Okay, make sure that your bio is complete. Make sure that there's a link that you want to reference in your post, in your bio, whether it's going to your website or a specific page or a specific product page to buy your products or your services, right? Make sure that link is current. I use a few emojis on my bio just so it pops a little bit. You could use hashtags in your bio. I keep it brief. I keep it very high level. I mean, there's obviously so many characters you could utilize anyway, but that's what I do. You could also utilize Instagram if you connect it to your business Facebook page. Whatever you post on your Instagram can be automatically posted to your Facebook business page. However, if you ever notice a business page and it has like a bunch of hashtags on it kind of randomly on some of their posts, 100% of the time it's because they've linked the two from your Instagram to your business page. So on Facebook, all those hashtags are a bit spammy and it may knock down your reach and engagement a little bit. So make sure if you do that, make sure if you have them connected, make sure that you go back to your Facebook page and kind of get rid of all the hashtags. Make sure you do a quick little edit, after you post whatever you posted on Instagram and back onto your Facebook business page. But some of the things that help me out the most, and admittedly, I am not I post what I want to post on Instagram that pertains to my audience and my business. Admittedly, I'm not going to be an influencer anytime soon. I'm not. But I post that stuff that's relevant to my audience, relevant for my audience. I'm more concerned about posting stuff like that and getting a gradual increase in my audience, right? As opposed to, there's some, influencers on Instagram that have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of, followers, and then they do really, really, really well. I know that's just not going to be my wheelhouse. However, I'm consistent on it. Again, stuff like this, if you're listening to my podcast, you could also watch me do my podcast as I'm uploading this video on my IGTV. So it's repurposed. So I not only use it here, but just kind of a side note, I use it for my YouTube channel as well. Okay. So that's Instagram in a very, very kind of brief nutshell. Again, if you're in that right type of industry, if you could be an influencer on Instagram, it could be very, very prosperous for your business. I mean, you have, if you can get up to 10, 20, 100,000 followers, then you could really turn that Instagram into maybe your primarily, if not your only platform that you'll ever have to utilize. I like it a lot, but I know it's not going to be my wheelhouse. But the thing is, you can't overthink it. Just produce content and post content on Instagram that is applicable to your audience, and let kind of the chips fall where they may. You'll see your audience grow. It'll be a lot more methodical, than if you were, happen to be that, 1 in a million kind of an influencer on Instagram. Another quick little tip before I go. Whenever you post something on Instagram, one of the tools don't forget to add your location. Don't forget to do that. And in your stories, I've noticed I get a little more reach and engagement if I use hashtags in my stories as well, not just in an Instagram post, but I use a couple of hashtags on my stories as well. But most of all, just be consistent. And again, post content that's relevant to your audience. Post content that's relevant to your audience, and find out, which hashtags you should be using. Delve into, which hashtags are, most useful. Typically, it's like at least half the hashtags you use should be industry related, and the other half the hashtags you decide to use should be more, brand specific to you. So again, be consistent, mix it up, and don't overthink it. Instagram's always going to change. If you spend, so much time worrying about, if you're doing it correctly, then next thing you know, you haven't posted anything for weeks. Okay, so be consistent. Post, content that's relevant to your audience. Be a little entertaining. Show the behind the scenes stuff. Show the stuff that maybe you don't necessarily. With my opinion, show stuff on Instagram that you don't show on other platforms, so it's more unique and more specific, kind of, again, kind of that behind the scenes of your day-to-day stuff that is kind of exclusive for an Instagram following. So that's my quick little 2 cents on Instagram. I hope I provided some insight for the novice users. For the influencers out there, I know I didn't provide any information relevant to or useful at all. So I really appreciate you following me. You're going to see a little circle on here if you're following me, or if you're watching this either on Facebook or YouTube. I would really appreciate you subscribe to my YouTube channel, the Campbell Marketing Group on YouTube. My podcast, The Sean Campbell Show, is available on Google, Apple, Spotify, Anchor, and several other places you can find and listen to your favorite podcasts. Until next time, I look forward to your comments. Talk to you later.
Thank you for listening to The Sean Campbell Show. Follow us on Instagram at The Sean Campbell Show.